This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Most importantly, thanks for listening. This is Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. It's all powered by Bowen Wealth. You can get more when you visit bowenwealth.com, and you can find that and all the information in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. Brandon, you're a very humble guy.
Well, that's good. It's a good
thing.
Yeah.
But I need you to take off the humble hat.
Okay.
I want you to talk about yourself today.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I think it's time that we reintroduce you.
Yeah. Okay. Because there's a lot of people moving in.
Exactly.
And they'll come in and say, "Hey, listen to the show," and I'll go, "Hey, how long have you been listening? That's great." And they're like, "What? That was my first show or something."
Yeah.
Like, new to the area. So there we go. Yeah, let's do that.
So a lot of people hear the show every week here, but maybe it's time to get to know you a little bit more. Let's talk about you, Brandon. All right. First and foremost, where are you from? College? Tell me about your family, your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters. Give me a little background on who you are.
So where am I from? I'm a South Carolina guy here, born up in Anderson, up in the upstate. Hence why I'm a Clemson fan.
Right.
And we can get into that some more. You Georgia Bulldog.
Yes, sir.
But so grew up there in Oconee County, and grew up on a farm. On a chicken farm. Dad had cows, chicken houses, and I'm talking these are the ones that stink really bad when you drive by them. Everybody knows. You usually start blaming the other person in the car because you thought they ripped one. It's like, roll down the window, but no, you just went past some chicken houses. Okay,
Right.
but so Dad had 3 of them, and they're like. They're like 40 feet wide by 400 feet long. Had all the cattle, but he also ran 2 paper routes. Okay, at the same time. So and Mom taught school. She taught kindergarten, then first grade, some third grade, so all elementary school. And so I grew up on a farm, and I watched hard work every day. Watched my dad do that. I even had to work on the farm, which was my motivation to do something else with my life. No offense to farmers that are listening, but yeah, that is such hard work. I'd have to go pick up the dead chickens and do all these chores on the farm every day growing up, even in elementary school, so watching that I watched hard work. Okay.
Your childhood was a country song. Your daddy was a farmer. Your mama was a teacher, and you worked on the farm growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I knew, like growing up, I was like, okay. And I'd see my other friends, they all had, their dads were farmers. That was just what you did up there, I felt like. And I was like, okay, I got to do, if I don't want to do this, I need an excuse right now, and I better have some drive and be good at something else.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I don't, then this is where I'm landing, and I'm going to be working here for Dad. And so I quickly learned that, okay, playing sports got me out of some of those chores because you'd have, practice every day in school. So I got into, any sport, whatever sport they were doing. I was playing it, and soccer, baseball, basketball, golf. I focused in high school. I zeroed in more so on basketball and golf, so I love doing that and really put my effort into that. And two, I want to compliment my dad some more too, is he would coach me. Like he would do all that work, up at 2 a.m. every morning. Okay. To do the paper routes. He would start the 2 paper routes over 2 counties, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Greenville News, and he was delivering those papers to the racks and to the homes. But, then he'd go work on the farm. And then when I would have practice and stuff, he would coach my team. The time that Dad put into, even just relationship with me. I'm the only son. I've got 2 sisters. So that was really what helped shape me. And so then I go to college, and I was wanting to do something in like sports related. So I wanted to play college basketball. And so I went and I talked to Lander and Winthrop were the 2 schools that showed interest. And Clemson did not. So I'm not that good. Right. So, you go on these visits and stuff, and I'm like thinking I'm big stuff. And there's like, here comes a 6'4" dude. And I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, hey, what position are you? I'm like, I'm a shooting guard. And he's like, I'm a point guard. And I'm like, point guard? You're 6'4". What are you doing? You're not, like point guard's supposed to be shorter than me. I'm like 6'2", 6'3", shooting guard's supposed to be a little bit bigger than you point guards. And I quickly picked up on like college sports at that level, different ball game. So then, so I ended up going to Winthrop, and then our coach gets fired the first year. We weren't that good. And so then Greg Marshall comes in and just cleans house, and he's like, okay, everybody transfer. He brought in his own players, and they went worst to first. It was amazing. So I played on the women's basketball scout team and helped them run the next opponent's offense to practice. So that kept it real fun. to get up and down the court, still play. So so that was college. Once I finished school, moved to Atlanta. And I started with a company there that partnered with churches, okay, and did sports programming for kids and did that for a bit. Then ended up at a golf resort, Barnsley Gardens Resort, up there in Adairsville, Georgia. So I did that. So, I'm kind of doing my thing but wanting to provide more for the family. I got married at that point too. And then the 2008 crash happens, okay? And so then I get laid off from the golf resort, from those things. And so that was what really, was the catalyst to get me into this industry. Because I had a friend of a friend who was starting an insurance agency. So I got licensed for life insurance and started, hitting the road. So this was back in, 2009, 2010. And that's really when I got into this industry, and then just kept growing, just kept succeeding very quickly and adding licenses. And, fast forward to starting Bowen Financial Group. Now it's Bowen Wealth, becoming a registered investment advisor and RIA. And that brings us to here. So that was a quick trip down memory lane for you, Mark.
When did you create Bowen Wealth?
2013 was when I went out on my own, basically, was, kind of got out of that, like I said, that first bit of doing the insurance sales. And I said, okay, I'm going to make this. It was a calculated risk. But I decided to do it. I'm a man of faith. And I really felt like, okay, I'm going to trust the Lord. I'm going to be cognizant of my expenses, of course.
Right.
And you kind of go slow and you get into it, and you go to all commission, basically. I mean, there's no salary anymore when you take these risks in life. And everybody listening can think of probably times where you and your family, or you took that risk, and I mean, you burn the ships, if you will.
Right.
There's no going back.
Yeah.
And it's quite scary once you think about it, especially, you look back and you're like, golly, I had 2 little girls at that time, and then we moved to Charleston, and, just the trust that my wife at the time, that was scary, but thank the Lord that he provided, and the rest is history. And so that started in 13, and then Bowen Wealth, switched that over here as I continued to grow, and was in West Ashley, had an office over there. Then we've moved it to Mount Pleasant. And so that was when we started Bowen Wealth.
843-890-2400. You're listening this weekend. You're going, man, I like his upbringing. I like his story. I'm kind of looking for somebody to help guide me down the path towards retirement. And you hear what Brandon's talking about. You want to have a deeper conversation. Again, 843-890-2400. We always invite you to bowenwealth.com. Let's talk about what you do for the families you serve. It's kind of a 2-part question. What's the best part of your job at Bowen Wealth? And also, what's the biggest challenge of working in this industry?
Okay. The favorite part of my job, I would say, is helping people see clearly that they have done what it takes to retire, right? They've grown the money. They've got it sitting there, right? They've got it. They just don't know where to place the chips and how to organize this thing and really design an income plan, something that they can have confidence in. And so once I provide that clarity, of showing them the plan and showing them the numbers and how we're being very pessimistic with these assumptions and things that we're talking about. When I show them that they can do that, and they've ran their numbers on expenses. Okay, Brandon, seriously, this is how much we need to retire. And if I can even show them round up to the nearest $1,000 and have inflation eating away and COLAs hitting that thing and it going higher and higher, and you still can afford to do it, when they look at each other, or if it's a single person, once I see that exhale, that we have done it, and they start to smile, or their demeanor changes, then I know that they have realized that they can now start the best years of their life.
Right.
This next phase of their life. That's the most rewarding thing to me, is helping them give themselves permission to retire. So it's like, I hit the eject button for a lot of workers. That's my I guess my shtick here is when people come in, I hope that, once we're done meeting 2 or 3 times, boom, they're turning in the notice at work. It's like
it's that the joy you get from that aha moment, from putting, showing somebody a strategy and saying, you're good. Here, you can now officially retire. And this is when you circle this date because you're done. Okay.
That's right. Well, and let me then finish.
Yeah, sure.
The converse would be the hardest thing, I think.
The biggest challenge you deal with.
Yeah, the biggest challenge is I show them this planning and the numbers, and either I don't know, we're not connecting, or it just doesn't click, or whatever, and then they just either they go, no, I want to keep working, or maybe the trust isn't there. Then I guess that's the hardest thing for me, because I'm just like, but it's there, or. You've done the work. And so I try maybe a different approach of trying to communicate this, or maybe, there's other things that are not being voiced to us. And so I say, hey, how about can we connect again in 6 months? Right.
Right.
Maybe continue on just and be thinking as you think of questions over the next few weeks and months. What is that concern? Maybe if you can't put your finger on it, write it down. I want to talk. Maybe we have a conversation in 6 months or something. And maybe it's a better time, right? It could be some other things going on in someone's life that I don't know about. So I would say that's the hardest, because it sticks with me. Like if I don't, help you retire, and I go back to the people in my office, my team, they will go, it'll be like, they'll see it on me for the next few days. And like, what happened? I'm like, I can't believe Mr. and Mrs. They didn't see it, or they're not walking into what I just showed, So that's probably the hardest thing.
But that also proves that, this is your passion, your why. Like you're not, the families you serve, it's going to sound like a cliche, and I don't mean for it to, but I don't know any other way to say it. They're not a number to you. It's not like Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I see them once every 6 months, and this strategy may or may not work. You obviously get invested with, the lives of the people you serve. Yeah.
You're not getting passed around. How many people, you listening, how many advisors have you been passed to in that same firm you're with? The problem with any of these big shops or whatever, so-and-so left, and now you've got this new person calling you, hi, and mispronouncing your name, and and they don't know you, and they're now your new advisor.
Yes.
Right? That does not happen here.
Dude,
right?
that happened. We had our basement flooded. About a year ago, and it was bad. We had to get insurance involved. They came out. They had to do the whole assessment. They were taking notes and taking pictures, and I've had a bit of a relationship with it. His name was Joe. I'd tell you what it looked like. I knew where he was from. We both love Braves baseball. We had those conversations. He knew my situation. He knew why I needed my basement. He knew what I was dealing with. And then out of nowhere, I get a call. Hey, Mr. Owens, just to let you know, Joe is no longer with us. You'll be working with Dave.
Oh. And it went cold right there, didn't it?
And just, you got to start over completely.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. I got to imagine a lot of people go through that in, trying to put a strategy and a retirement plan together.
Yeah, because, it could be something as simple as like you made a comment of, hey, in a couple years, I want to give this to my grandkids or something.
Right.
You've shared your heart. You've opened up some of the things that you want deep down this money to do, to help with legacy planning and things that mean a lot to you. And now that person's left.
Yeah.
And now they don't know anything about you. They just see your holdings and how much money you have, and then they're going to pay attention to who they want to.
Yeah.
843-890-2400.
Again, 843-890-2400. Obviously, Brandon Bowens knows the economy, lives here, works here, plays here, from this area as well. This isn't a syndicated show that runs all up and down the East Coast, all across Middle America. Nope, here to serve the residents of Charleston and the surrounding area. Again, 843-890-2400, are always available at bowenwealth.com. Where do you see Bowen Wealth in 10 years from now?
I see it a lot like it is right now, where it's me and I've got a great support team. Right. I don't have a goal of having junior advisors. Now, I'm not saying that I won't bring on someone to help and help us grow and provide more for clients. But right now I love it. I love doing what I do, and it's really specializing. We're not for everybody, but it is specializing in those that are just a few years before retirement and then into retirement. Right. That's our wheelhouse, where you've done the hard work. You've saved money. You saved plenty of money, but now you need a plan, right? And you're not getting that from your current guy or girl. They're just really focused on growth, but you need somebody that's going to focus on a lot of the retirement concerns, of income, making sure that's always there, reducing your risk in the market. What about our next market crash? In tax planning, we've got taxes, stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about taxes here as, some of the Trump tax cuts are set to expire heading into 2026. Okay. So someone that focuses on these things, it's like a specialized doctor, not just a general practitioner, but I'm a specialist here. And that's what people, so I'm going to keep focusing in on this area. And if this is you, if you're in this age and stage, then I want to have a conversation. I want to give you that second opinion.
Just spending a few minutes this weekend, really get to know Brandon Bowen and his why for Bowen Wealth and how he serves the community, putting together strategies. Okay, well, we're bumping up against it, so I want to do a little rapid fire with you here, okay?
Okay,
all right. You ready? Here we go. Your hobbies, what are they? Go.
Golf and smoking meat on my Kamado Joe.
Oh, yes, sir. What about what shows? Are you streaming anything right now? What's the last movie you watched? What entertainment are you watching right now?
Not a good show. I'm not good on shows.
Okay.
I really only watch sports.
Very good.
Yeah.
Is it all college football? Are you NFL and NBA? What's your
yes, college, love college. And then Sundays, I'll just keep it on, and whatever game's on, I just appreciate how good they are, how fast, how precise.
Yeah.
Just how
did
good
you say I paid? Were you about to say I paid money to Clemson? So I'm a big Clemson fan. Is that where that was going?
Pay attention.
Oh, you pay attention.
But yes, yeah. Pay attention to Clemson when the. Yeah.
I'm about to say my wife's a Georgia graduate, so we put a lot of money into that school. So we watch whether they're doing good.
Now I probably will be paying. We're hoping that's what Ava's applied to Clemson, so we should find out.
It's happening, Brandon. It's happening. What's your biggest guilty pleasure? Is it a nice old, bourbon or scotch, or is it you spend a little money on the meats you're going to smoke? Or
I would say, I would say drinking. Yeah. Just because, I'm trying to, post divorce here. I'm taking care of my body better. So now I look at stuff, I'm like, it's not worth it. I don't want to. And so I don't drink now except on the weekends. And so then I feel like that's my guilty pleasure. Like, okay, the game's on.
Yeah.
I'll have 2 beers, but that's it,
but when the game's on, the grill is fired up. Maybe you got a little fire pit going.
Yes.
You're at home.
Surely they don't count.
No, that doesn't. No.
Okay.
That's your happy. That's your safe space.
Yes.
Yes. All right, one more for you. All right, I'm going to get a little deep with you here on this one. If you could improve one thing for yourself, either physically, mentally, or for your career, what would you like to improve on?
I would say, I guess the one thing I've been working on is looking at my past, looking at the gains in my life and focusing more on that, not the gap of what I hope to achieve down the road. Okay.
Yep.
We've done a whole segment on this called the gap and the gain. And so I think that's really been my focus lately is not comparing myself to somebody else or trying to reach yes, I do have goals, but I'm really trying to focus in on at the end of each day, think back, okay, what 3 things did I accomplish today or did I make progress on, and be grateful for that, because then that actually motivates you even more. It's not like you're just getting complacent now or just looking at the half glass full. There's a little bit of, that optimistic, but what it does is you go, man, I'm making some progress. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm going to now be more intentional with my time and where I spend, what I do. I don't watch shows like you're mentioning, I'll try to spend that time. Okay. How can it be most beneficial? Who do I want to give this time to? Is it my girls? Is it someone, so I really try to think through that and then try to recap my day. And then of course with my thoughts and, is this something, have I made growth? Where can, and if I see that was kind of wasted, then I'll address that for the next day.
Is it fair to say that family, faith, and helping adults find their financial freedom?
Oh my goodness. That was it.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was perfect. A lot of F's, a lot of F words in there.
The alliteration. It's all about the alliteration.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth, LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.